कभी अस्पताल में ईसीजी की मशीन देखी है? उसकी लकीर जब तक टेढ़ी चलती है, आदमी जिंदा रहता है। जैसे ही सीधी हुई, आदमी खत्म।
Hello everyone. My name is Mugdha Dangrikar and I am a first year MBBS student at Srimati Kashibai Navle Medical College and General Hospital Pune. I'll be explaining the topic ECG. ECG stands for electrocardiogram. It is the record of electrical activity of heart. The other terms associated with it are the electrocardiograph, which is instrument used for recording, while electrocardiography is the procedure of recording and analyzing the electrical activity of heart. Now you might wonder how heart shows electrical activity. Let us see. Heart shows the property of electrical conductivity. It acts as a changing dipole in volume conductor. The body fluids are good conductors of electricity as they contain large quantities of electrolytes. Therefore, these electrical changes occurring in heart with each heartbeat are conducted all over the body. These changes can be picked up from the body surface with the help of leads, which is an arrangement of wires with a pair of electrodes. The inside of heart is electronegative while the outer walls are electropositive. As soon as impulse arrives, there is depolarization. The flow of current is from negative towards the positive. From the figure, it can be seen that the base of heart is electronegative while the apex is electropositive. So now, coming to this typical graph of ECG, we can see that it consists of different waves, segments and intervals. The recording paper has a speed of 25 millimeters per second. Hence on the x-axis, 1 millimeter division corresponds to 0.04 second, while on the y-axis which plots voltage, 1 millimeter is equal to 0.1 millivolts. We can see there are different waves, namely P, Q, R, S, T and U, different segments, the PR segment and ST segment, and PR, ST and QT are the different intervals. The main difference between these is that a segment is a straight line connecting two waves, whereas an interval comprises of at least one wave plus a connecting straight line. Now let us consider different waves in detail. The P wave is the first wave of ECG with a duration of 0.1 second and it is directed upwards. It is due to the atrial depolarization and represents the spread of impulse from SA node to the atrial muscles. The QRS complex represents ventricular depolarization, wherein the Q wave is a small negative deflection of a duration less than 0.04 second, which represents the invasion of midpoint of the interventricular septum. The R wave is a prominent and pointed positive wave which coincides with the onset of ventricular systole. The S wave again is a negative pointed deflection which represents the excitation of more basal parts of the ventricle. Thus, the QRS complex extends from beginning of the Q wave to the end of the S wave with a total duration of 0.08 to 0.12 second. If this duration is more than 0.12 second, it indicates a heart block. The T wave is a rounded positive deflection of duration 0.27 second and it represents ventricular repolarization. The end of T wave coincides with the closure of the semilunar valves. Atrial repolarization is of a very short duration and it merges with the QRS complex, hence not seen. Now following the P wave, there is a brief isoelectric period of 0.04 second called the PR segment. It represents the AV nodal delay. Following the QRS complex, there is a long isoelectric period called the ST segment and its duration is 0.04 to 0.08 second, which measures the time from end of ventricular depolarization to the start of its repolarization. Coming to the intervals, PR interval is from the beginning of the P wave to the beginning of R wave. It represents atrial depolarization plus the conduction time of bundle of His. Normal duration is 0.12 to 0.16 second. If it is more than 0.2 second, there is delayed conduction in the bundle of His, while less than 0.12 second indicates ectopic pacemaker in the AV node. The QT interval is from the beginning of the Q wave to the end of T wave with a normal duration of 0.40 to 0.43 seconds. It represents ventricular depolarization as well as repolarization. Lastly, the U wave is rarely seen and is a small round positive wave of duration 0.08 seconds. It is due to the slow repolarization of the papillary muscles of heart. The J point is an isoelectric point at the end of S wave, that is, it indicates no electrical activity. It is very important in assessing the ST segment elevation or depression associated with the myocardial infarction. ECG consists of total 12 leads, of which 6 are the chest leads, 3 are limb leads, and 3 are augmented leads. The chest leads are placed on the precordium as shown in this figure. V1 is placed in the fourth intercostal space to the right of sternum. V2 is placed in the fourth intercostal space to the left of sternum. Then we place V4 in the fifth intercostal space in the mid-clavicular line. The V3 lead is placed in between V2 and V4. V5 is placed in the fifth intercostal space in the anterior axillary line, while V6 is placed in the fifth intercostal space in the mid-axillary line. The lids are of two types, unipolar and bipolar. The unipolar lids have two electrodes. One is the exploring electrode placed on the body surface, and the others are indifferent electrodes kept at zero potential by connecting the electrodes of right arm, and left leg to a central terminal through 5000 ohm resistance. The augmented leads are unipolar limb leads with slight modification in the recording technique. They are the recording between one limb connected to the positive terminal and other two leads connected through the electrical resistance to a negative terminal of ECG machine. This arrangement increases the size of potential by 50% without any change in the configuration from the non-augmented record. Coming to bipolar leads, in bipolar recording, ECG is recorded using two active electrodes. One is the positive and other is the negative electrode. Therefore, deflection recorded here at any moment represents the algebraic sum of the potential of two constituent leads. For example, lead 1 records the potential difference between the right arm and the left arm. Lead 2 records difference between the right arm and the left leg, while lead 3 records the potential difference between the left arm and the left leg. Now you might feel, what is all about these different leads and potentials, and how do we integrate all of them into a single recording? Well, the answer to this was given by Wilhelm Einthoven, who is regarded as father of electrocardiography. He stated the famous Einthoven law that in a volume conductor, the sum of potentials at the end points of an equilateral triangle with a current source in the center is zero at all the times. It is proved on the basis of the Einthoven triangle, which is approximated in our body by placing the electrodes on the right arm, and the left leg. Current from the three limbs neutralize one another, hence they act as different electrodes and do not undergo any significant change during the cardiac cycle. Thus, by this law, sum of potentials of leads 1 and 3 equals the potential of lead 2. Now let us understand what is meant by the cardiac vector. Since the standard limb leads record the potential difference between 2 points, deflection in each lead at any moment indicates the magnitude and direction in the axis of the electromotive force generated in heart. This is called as the cardiac vector. The electrical axis of heart is plotted using the average QRS deflection in any two classical limb leads. This is known as the mean QRS vector, which is approximately plus 59 degrees. This is almost in the axis of lead 2, hence the lead 2 is mostly referred in ECG. The mean QRS vector lies from minus 30 degrees to plus 110 degrees. From minus 30 degrees to plus 30 degrees, there is normal left axis deviation which corresponds to the horizontal position of heart. Plus 30 degrees to plus 75 degrees represents the oblique position of heart, while plus 75 degrees to plus 110 degrees represents normal right axis deviation which corresponds to vertical position of heart. The point to be noted here is that the abnormal left axis deviation can occur due to left bundle branch block, left ventricular hypertrophy, or the anterolateral myocardial infarction, while the abnormal right axis deviation can occur due to right bundle branch block, right ventricular hypertrophy, or the posterior myocardial infarction. Coming to the clinical applications of ECG, ECG has a widespread usage in diagnosis and assessment of various cardiovascular disorders like heart blocks, cardiac arrhythmias, myocardial infarction, and effect of changes in the different ions in body fluids. In short, we will see about heart block and myocardial infarction. Heart block is nothing but the disturbance in the normal transmission of the impulses generated in the SA node. There are three main types. First is the sinoatrial nodal block. Initially, the whole heartbeat is lost, but approximately after 2 cardiac cycles, a new pacemaker takes over. Next is the atrioventricular nodal block. It occurs due to the conduction blockage from atria to the ventricles. It is again divided into complete and incomplete. In the incomplete heart block, there is partial blockage of conductance, which is again divided into degree 1 and degree 2. In degree 1, there is abnormally long PR interval. Here, the atrial rate is to ventricular rate is 1:1. In the degree 2 block, the atrial rate is to ventricular rate becomes 2:1 and the PR interval goes on increasing until the ventricular beat is dropped. This is known as the Van-Quebec phenomenon. The degree 3 heart block is the complete heart block since there is complete interruption of conductance between the atria and the ventricles. Hence, the ventricles beat at a slower rate than the atria, thus generating the idioventricular rhythm. In the bundle branch block, there is blockage in one of the branches of bundle of His. Therefore, the excitation process passes down normally up to the bundle to the site which is intact and then sweeps back through the muscles to activate the ventricle on the blocked site. Coming to myocardial infarction, also known as heart attack in layman's language, it is characterized by the occlusion of coronary artery either by a thrombus or embolism, which leads to myocardial ischemia due to hypoxia at tissue level, and then there is accumulation of factor P within the myocardial tissue. The substernal series of chest pain radiating to the inner border of the left arm called the angina pectoris is seen, and it radiates up to the neck, jaw, epigastrium or the interscapular regions. It is also accompanied by discomfort in the left wrist and the hand. Let us see the ECG changes observed during myocardial infarction. This is the normal ST segment. In myocardial infarction, there is elevation in the ST segment, while in myocardial ischemia, there is depression in the ST segment. So, infarction and ischemia both occur due to less oxygen supply to the tissue. But in infarction, there is necrosis or the cell death. Now, depending upon the region of heart, whether it is posterior wall, lateral wall or anterior and inferior wall, we can divide myocardial infarction accordingly. Depending upon the region, the changes in the ECG leads are also different. This graph shows changes during the anterior wall myocardial infarction. The lids overlying the anterior wall will show ST elevation like this, while the lids reciprocal to it will show ST depression like this one in the lid V1. I hope you guys liked my topic. Thank you.